The stock market is basically just one giant auction house where everyone inside of it is bidding to buy shares of stock or pricing them to sell them. So it's important to know all the different order types out there if I want to get in on the action. So I'm going to go over some basic order types that I can find across any platform and show you how I personally use them. But before we start, this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. This is not financial advice. First, I need to know my way around an order entry box. This is where I actually place my orders. Every platform may look or be labeled a bit differently, but they should all have these same basic functions. So under symbols is where I specify the stock, quantity is where I put the amount of shares, and under order type, this is where I'll get a drop-down list of all the different order types I can use, which I'll be going over each one. Then price is where I set the price. Term is how long I want this order to be active for. As a beginner, these two are the only ones I need to know for now. So selecting day means the order will only be valid for that trading day, meaning if my order never gets executed, it'll automatically cancel on its own once the market closes that day. Selecting GTC, which stands for good till cancel, means the order will stay out until I manually cancel it myself. So technically, it can be out there forever if it never executes and I don't cancel it. And then finally, exchange is for if I want to route an order to a specific exchange. Don't really need to worry about that for now. I'm just going to keep it on auto. So let's say I want to buy 100 shares of JRY stock and it's currently trading at $10. Well, if I didn't care about what price I get it at and my priority was to just get in immediately at whatever price is available out there, then I can use what's called a market order. So in this example, I would put in the symbol JRY and put in 100 shares. And when I select market order, I can see that the price box gets grayed out and I won't be able to put anything in there. And that's because, again, this is saying I don't care at what price. I just want to own 100 shares of this stock right now by any means necessary. So the pro of using a market order is that it's basically a sure thing. It's very reliable that I will get these 100 shares. I can expect the order to do what I want. But the con is that I don't know at what cost. So even though it'll try to fill me at the best price available, there's a big question mark on what I'll end up actually paying. So for that reason, I usually never use a market order to get into a stock because I personally like to have more control over what I'm paying, just like I would for anything else. Like if I wanted to buy a new monitor or a TV, I'm not going to buy the first thing that pops up. I may shop around a little bit to see what the best deal is to get the best bang for my buck. So what I mostly use market orders for is getting out of positions, because if a stock is completely falling apart and going against me, at that moment, I'm less picky about my price and more focused on cutting my losses and getting out before it does any further damage. So if I own shares of JRY at $10 and I don't want to be in this thing if it ever drops below $9, I can get out by putting a market order to sell once I see it drop below that price. Because this order will try to get me out immediately at whatever price available the moment I hit send. Of course, I can use price alerts to notify me if it does, so I don't have to keep a close eye on it. But if I don't want to deal with all that, I can also use a stop order. A stop order is the same as a market order, but it only goes live if it hits a specified price. So going back to the example, if I wanted to get out of JRY only if it broke $9, I can change the order type to a stop, and now I'll see the price box no longer grayed out, and I can set my sell price at whatever I want now. In this case, I want to get out at $8.99. So what this is saying is sell my 100 shares of JRY with a market order. Again, meaning I don't care at what price, just get me out immediately, but only put this order through if the price drops down to $8.99 or below. So the easiest way to think about it is here the word stop actually means go. I know, isn't it nice that they always make these things as simple as possible? So a stop order only goes live if it hits that stop price. And of course, I can use this to buy stock as well. So if I put in 100 shares at a stop price of, let's say, $10.01, it'll only throw out a market order to buy it if the price hits $10.01 or higher. So the pro of using a stop order is that I can pinpoint where my orders are going through, whether I'm buying or selling. If it drops below this price, I want to be out. If it hits above this price, I want to be in. And because it's a market order, it's very reliable that it'll be executed. And the con is that it's still a market order. I don't know exactly where my prices are going to get filled at. And this can actually be worse if I'm not paying close attention to what the price is doing. For example, if I want to buy over $10, so I have a stop order out to buy at $10.01, good till cancel, and the next day I didn't know it opens at $15, well, it's going to throw out that market order and fill me around its current price. That's 50% more expensive than what I was expecting to pay. So I always have to be careful when using market or stop orders. So again, with these, I'm mostly using them to exit positions. If I don't want to be glued to a trade, I'll put on stop orders, whether I'm protecting myself from a losing trade or looking to take profits on a winning trade. Whatever it is, I know I can rely on this order to get out when I need it to. And if I'm using any good till cancel orders on overnight holds, always making sure before the market opens, checking to see where those prices are trading at so I can adjust accordingly. But what I personally prefer and use more of are stop limit orders. A stop limit order works very similar, but it limits the price where my orders are being executed at. So if I want to buy 100 shares of JRY only if it hits over $10, but the highest I'm willing to pay is $10.25, well now if I change this to a stop limit order, this will give me two separate price boxes. The stop price, again, stop means go. So I want this order to go and buy this if it hits 10.01. And the limit box is for when I want to limit the price I want to pay. In this case, $10.25. So what this will do is once this stock hits 10.01, it'll throw out an order to buy at the best price available at that time, but no higher than $10.25. So the pro of using a stop limit order is that I now have more control over the price I'm buying and selling. I know exactly what price range to expect. There's no surprises here. And the con is that now there's a lower chance of my order being executed since there's a specific price range we're working with. And the tighter that limit price, the less chance I have. Because if I use something as tight as 10.01 stop and a 10.02 limit, that's a very small range of price that can easily get skipped over. So trying to save a few cents might cost me money if that stock ends up blasting to the moon without me. So I do use this for both entering and exiting positions, but gotta be reasonable with the price, making sure I give it the proper room. And this all depends on the price of the stock and how it's moving, and finding that sweet spot. And I tend to give it more room on the exiting side because I don't want to get stuck on the way out. And if it does go way against me, it still keeps me in. Now, why would I want to stay in? Well, because if a stock gap's huge against me, I prefer to read the price action to see if it can recover to help mitigate the loss, instead of just blindly getting out. So the stop limit order is something I use all the time, but if I want to be even more exact, I use something what's called a limit order. A limit order is used to buy or sell at an exact price or better. So let's change the same order to a limit now, and I'll see only one price box again. But here, it's asking me to put in the exact price I wanted at or better. So if I still want JRY, only if it breaks over $10, the whole number, here, it wouldn't make sense to use a limit order because what happens if I put a limit order out at 10.01, it will fill me those shares right away at its current price. Remember, it's saying I want it at 10.01 or better, and at the moment, it's much cheaper than that, which is better, so it will execute right away. But if the price already broke above $10 and the most I was willing to pay was 10.01, well now it makes more sense to use this order because it will only fill me if it comes back down into my price or better. Or if I'm watching this in real time and as it breaks the whole number, I can throw out a limit order at 10.01 to ensure I don't pay anything higher than that. But depending how the price is moving, it'll come down to if I'm fast enough or if it's liquid enough, meaning there's enough shares available at that price. So the pro of using a limit order is that I know exactly at what price I'm buying and selling at. And sometimes I may even end up paying even less, or if I'm selling, I may end up getting paid even more. And the con is that I even have a less chance of getting those shares because I'm trying to get it at an exact price. So either I'm trying to get it in real time as I'm watching it, or it's already passed above the highest price I was willing to pay. So I have to wait and hope that it comes back into the price to get those shares. So as a day trader, this is another one I use pretty often for both opening and closing positions because every penny matters to me. Think of it like this. If I had 1,000 shares of this and I got in a penny late and I got out a penny late, well, that's 2 cents. Seems like nothing, right? But that's actually $20 that just fell out of my pocket. Okay, $20, nothing life-changing here. But if I average 4 or 5 trades a day, that's $100 a day I'm giving back. And there's about 250 trading days in a year. Well, shit, that comes out to $25K a year. And that's the snowball effect just 1 cent makes here. So to recap, here are the 4 basic order types I use the most. Market orders I use to get in and out immediately. I don't care at what price. My priority is getting in or out of this position. Stop orders, or should be called go orders, are market orders, but only goes through if it hits a specified price. Stop limit orders are similar to stop orders, but instead of a market order, I can limit the price it executes me at. And finally, finally, limit orders are for when I want to get in or out at an exact price or better. Of course, there's more order types out there, a little bit more advanced, like the bracket orders and the trailing stop orders. But when I was a beginner, these are the 4 that I really needed to get down first. That was super helpful to me. So hope that was helpful to you. As always, I appreciate you being here and hope to see you on the next one. Peace.
Let's see how you do under pressure. Yeah, I've been wanting this shit forever. I've been in the field with whatever they throw at me. Brush it off, pick myself up, moving on to the better. Hey. Ain't no errors, baby, it's a new era. I wake up early feeling rich like I'm Kesha. I get to the paper, boy.